For this episode of Creative Minds Unpacked, here we are at this most magical space. Tucked away in the Malvern Hills, this is the Theatre of Small Convenience, officially the smallest theatre in the world. We're going to be exploring some more amazing creative minds. Welcome to Creative Minds Unpacked, Loz Samuels. Loz is a creative producer, artistic director and mixed media artist. And here we are today in this most fantastic space, which is the Theatre of Small Convenience. And Loz, I wonder if you would like to tell us about this fantastic project and about its history and why it's important to you.
Oh, that's a lot of questions.
Sorry. You can take them bit by bit.
No, that's fine. Okay, so I got involved by accident, which, like all great projects, it seems, in my life. So Sean Prentice and Layla Glantz were trying to save the theatre. It was in danger of being knocked down. It was previously a gentleman's toilet. Dennis Neal had ran it for 19 years as a puppet theatre, all on his own.
Oh, and this is in Malvern, right? I didn't say Malvern.
This is in Malvern, yeah. It had been, Dennis had retired due to ill health, and then he'd given the theatre, well, he'd not, he was renting it off the town council and the district council, and they'd given the lease to the college for their art, for art projects. They'd done a few little things in here, and then they put a dehumidifier in here, and unfortunately it caught fire.
Oh, wow.
So it suffered quite a lot of damage.
Okay.
And then it just left standing through lockdown with the roof leaking, water pouring in, and it was in a real state. It was really derelict. So Layla and Sean were really worried that it was going to get knocked down because there's a development going on next door.
Yeah.
They'd set up a little friends group on Facebook, and they were, on a mission to save it. They called me in to help because I just moved back to Malvern from Bristol. I said, no, I've not got time.
Yeah.
I went to about 3 meetings to give them some pointers, get an action plan together. And then they had to pull out because their lot, just wasn't working for them in terms of commitment. And so I'd met Dennis and I'd become quite emotionally invested into the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, oh my God, okay, so I have to step in and do something. It's down to me. So I got a couple of other people, Deba Faruqi and Jan Bertel. I'd somehow twisted their arms and said, hey, why don't we try and save this theatre? Yeah. They were up for it. And that was the beginning of a 2-year journey of writing business proposals and lobbying the council.
Yeah.
And negotiating with them, who were trying to sell it to us for quite a lot of money. And I just kept saying, no, we're not going to pay you 25 grand or whatever it is.
Right,
and eventually we set up a CIC and they signed it over to us for nothing,
Fantastic.
Which is great.
Yeah.
So it's got a covenant on it. It's protected. It has to be a theatre forever.
Amazing.
And then we embarked on a crowdfunding campaign to get a new roof, get it rewired, replastered, damp-proof, new drains, new floor, underfloor heating.
Wow.
And restoration. So
I suppose there's quite a lot to do when it starts as a toilet.
It was, it wasn't a toilet. I mean, it was beautiful, but it was very fire damaged. So all the original wood that you can see is all, it was here that Dennis put this all in. This is all made out of old pianos and old chair legs. Wow. Everything's kind of recycled, but it was all covered in soot and it absolutely stank and mold and, so it was a big cleaning job. And a lot needed doing, and some things had disappeared that we had to get back and reinstate them, and so we got the keys in January 2023. No, was it 2025, and we opened in October after like weeks and weeks and weeks of really grueling, scrubbing and build. It was really intense. But we opened really soon after we got the keys, which was great.
And it looks so fantastic in here, doesn't it? And how many? So it's the smallest theatre in the world, correct?
It is,
yes, officially, which is so fantastic. And what is it? 8 seats?
No, seats 12.
Oh, seats 12.
Yeah, officially. Okay. Well, you can have kids on cushions at the front.
Yeah,
so
sure.
More in. And it's supposed to have 16 standing. But we've no idea where that came in. That kind of, it's a rule of thumb, isn't it? I think when Dennis had it, there was licensing laws, and now for venues this size, there isn't. So, we've had more people than that in on occasion. But you not like to keep it comfy.
And you said, the opener was a few more and a dog as well.
Yeah, on the opener, we kind of played how many people can you get into the world's smallest theatre. We got 24 and a dog in. So that was really
amazing.
Well, there's no chairs, obviously.
There's a sort of joke there, isn't there? I think it's like a joke. And what about the performers? I mean, does it have to be like solo shows or
No, it's all different shows. We've had, all sorts. We've had immersive theatre, so we've had a seance, and we've had, 13 people in it. It's got to be 13 for a seance, isn't it?
Right.
So people have been sitting in the round. We've had traditional sort of front-on puppet shows. We've had a dulcimer concert with 6 dulcimer players.
Okay, wow,
all sorts.
Amazing.
We're really open to what we have in it.
I keep trying to get tickets, like I said earlier, but it's really hard to get a ticket because they sell out so quickly.
It's a hot ticket.
I will come at some point. And do you think, like, I'm sure, because I've known you for quite a long time, and I feel like, you get really passionate about projects. You definitely have had a diverse career. And did you feel like when you met Dennis and you understood more about what this was, that became a real passion for you?
Yeah, I mean, I used to live in Malvern between 2005 and 2010, and I had come to see a show that Dennis did.
Right, okay.
And I walked in and I kind of was like, wow, this is like so me, I just like, wow,
it totally is.
He's like a real kindred spirit, But I didn't get to meet him until I came back in 2022. So as soon as I met him, I was just we just felt really on the same page, and we've got a very similar approach to sort of making. There was a real connection straight away. It just felt the right thing. And because I'm a maker, as well as a programmer and all the rest of it, I had all the skills to bring it back, really. So that was, it just felt right. Things sometimes feel right, don't they?
100%.
And when I get a project that I'm passionate about, I can't, I'm like a dog with a bone. I can't let it go.
Absolutely. It. And, it's a good job because, what a fantastic space it is. But there's been some sad news recently, hasn't there, with Dennis, and that he's
Dennis passed away on the 18th of June, last Friday. But he'd been ill for a really long time, so it was a release, and
sure.
And I think Dennis was really pleased that the theatre was resurrected. Amazing. And I spent a lot of time with Dennis, talking. I know every detail of this theatre and all about its history, because I spent hours and hours of talking to him about it. So it feels like Dennis is still with us in space.
Absolutely. A lovely sort of full circle, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah. It's a great legacy, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, it's a fantastic space. And you said it's getting more and more popular, and people across the world are all hearing about it now and more. So it's so exciting, isn't it? And a slightly diversify off here. But I know that, because I think, I said it would be great to talk to you because I think that you've had an amazing, and are still having an amazing career of, lots of changes, lots of different things. It's quite an exciting career, from like being in the circus to, creating this theatre space, to all sorts of things. You're a taxidermy artist as well, aren't you? That's correct.
Well, that was a phase, I'd say.
Was that a phase? Right. Well, that leads us in, doesn't it, a little bit? Because I think, our podcast is very much about neurodivergent thinking and different brain types, and how, as creatives, we operate when we have certain types of brains that might think differently or do things differently. And I know that we've talked before about the possibility of you being ADHD, which, for anyone that knows you, shouts and screams that 100% you are. And I just, I just wondered if you wanted to talk a little about your journey there, and how you felt that really factors into the way that you work, from taking on these projects that you get passionate about and jumping between these such exciting things. Is that like a real part of what you have to do,
it's an inner drive that I can't resist. I can't fight it. I just have to go with whatever. But I'm not. It was funny, isn't it? So I just said, that was a phase. But so my whole life, you could call it phases, couldn't you?
Yeah.
So, but it's not really phases in the terms of I'm fully committed to everything I do. Yeah. Absolutely, more than 100%, if you 100%. Can be.
Definitely more than 100%.
No. No, that's not possible. But but I think it's I think when you're younger, and particularly we're going through kind of art school, when in their kind of 80s, 90s, there was always this pressure. You've got to be an absolute expert in one thing, and if you don't specialize, then you're not gonna be a success.
It's true, isn't it?
And it depends how you measure success, isn't it? So I'm not, monetarily, I'm not financially a success particularly, but I don't think that's the kind of richness that I'm pursuing and is important to me.
No.
And I think your creative journey is about being creative. And to me, learning to do one thing really well and then churning it out for the rest of your life is not a creative process.
No,
to me, you know,
there's no development there, is there?
There's
really?
no development,
Yeah.
And it's you may as well go and stuff chickens, as far as I'm concerned. You know, there's no what's the difference? You know,
yeah.
Vegetarian, that'd be awful for me.
yeah.
But so I think what I do is I'll see a situation and I'll respond to it, and if that requires me to learn a new creative skill, I'm more than happy to do that, and I'll learn it as, you know, to a satisfactory or better than satisfactory level, you know, and then I'll do it and I'll complete it, and then something else will come along, or I'll just keep adding on. And I think all those skills, you just keep adding, don't you, to your kind of toolbox of creative skills, in my view, and they all inform each other, and they all make you, you know, a better creative thinker, because you know, like, you're more informed, aren't you? You know, when I walked into the theatre, I know, you know, I've renovated loads of houses. I did a theatre design degree. You know, I program festivals and I work with lots of performers. I've made shows. I know what you need in a space. I've lived in vehicles. I know what you need in a small space to function properly. You know, so all those experiences in life all come together beautifully to enable me to make this space work really well, you know. And I think you just keep collecting more information as you go on, and that it keeps informing the next project.
It's really true, isn't it? Definitely. It is just like that collection of skill sets, isn't it, as you go. And also, but you need the variety too, don't you? I feel personally that for me, I need that variety, because otherwise I would be bored if I'm just doing one thing, you know. But then that variety comes at a cost, because sometimes your brain is so fried because you're juggling so many things. You know, for that's my personal thing, for that drive for variety, that I'm like, oh my God, why can't I just do one thing, you know? But I wouldn't
you'd be
bored. Able to. I'd be bored, But it is that, you know, like you say, that collection of skills, you know.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because when you've got a building, you're kind of tied to a building, aren't you? You know, and if I think deeply about it, I'm kind of like, I'm nearly 60 and I've just taken on a building, but then it's only a year and it's gone from a ruin to it's open and it's got performances happening in it and it's thriving, which is great.
Absolutely.
But I do sort of think, oh, really, now at this stage of life, I should be making exit plans as well as, you know, getting into things, because I'm gonna have to pass it on at some point. And I have got an aversion to committing long term to things.
Have you?
Not in that sounds really awful. Anybody who's in a relationship with me, it's fine, honestly. But you know, I don't want to feel that I'm completely nailed down. When you've got a space like this, you can make of it what you want. It's constantly changing this space. The actual physical building isn't, but everything that happens in it is, you know.
Totally.
And I think you can, you know, with most creative projects, they can keep evolving if you allow them to, you know, if you don't think, right, that's it, I've done it, and that's, you know. To me, it's like you just keep building on it, and it can evolve, and it can turn into other things, and then it can come back to what it was originally. You know, you can strip it back, or you can just, like, you know, be a maximalist, which I really like to do sometimes. So there's the varieties there. But I am tied to this building now.
But then maybe there is something, you know, when you think about not an exit plan so much, but, you know, just having something that's a bit, I don't know, calm is the wrong word, because it's not calm, but, you know, at least it is one place. Because I think with some of the production work you might have done previously, it's probably all over the place, isn't it? So maybe there's a calm that comes with having this one space, you know, that you're focused on.
There is, but I've still got production things that are going on.
Well, it's not your
so
only.
I've got both things going on. But the only reason that I say that I need an exit plan for this is because it's the responsibility of the, you know, it has to carry on. You know, I can't just go, right, 10 years has gone by. I'm old and knackered now. I'm broken. It's broken me. I can't do it anymore. Let's close the door and that's it. You know, it has
got
to continue.
To be a legacy, hasn't it?
So, you know, what I've got to do is build it up, get enough interest in it, and then find the people to hand it on to that I trust, you know, to keep it going. So it's a weighty responsibility, isn't it? You know, and especially when I feel like Dennis was like a real kindred spirit, because he was also probably very neurodivergent. You know, and he had constant ideas right till the very last minute of his life. He was still having ideas to make things. So you've got it's a precious thing that needs preserving. So that's my duty to Dennis to make sure that happens.
Yeah, that's very important for sure. Sure. So do you think then, with your like potential ADHD brain, that would be why you've, you know, sought out all these different avenues and, you know, had a different passion and jumped between?
I feel like that I haven't sought the things out really. I feel like they've come to me.
They've come to you. Okay, that's so interesting.
But my brain is kind of, it's almost like I have a thought, you know, like, oh, I'd like to be a trapeze artist one day. And then I've thought, oh, that's ridiculous. That's never going to happen. I'm scared of heights. And then I've thought, but I'm not going to let that stop me. And then I've talked to a few people about it, and then the opportunity has come, and I've thought, well, I've said it now, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Do you know what? Sometimes I work a bit like this. Yeah, you just put the idea out there, and then for me, it might be like a few years later. Like I might have said, I don't know, like various things, like I want to run a festival venue or whatever, and then suddenly 5 years later, I'm in that venue that I'm running, going, oh. Remember that time when I said had that thought? You know, I do that with things, and they do.
Yeah, it's almost like you manifest them, isn't it? In a way. But I think a lot of people might think things. They might think, oh, I want to be a trapeze artist. So then the opportunity to come, and they think, oh God, actually, no, I don't. And they wouldn't do it. You know, they wouldn't act on it, would they?
No.
I think a lot of people, they get opportunities and they don't take them.
Yeah.
But I think if you've got this sort of a brain, whatever kind of brain it is, it's not been quite pinned down yet, that you can't resist, can you? You have to do it. That's how it has been for me. So 100%. I've just followed this path of, it's like there's been a little breadcrumb trail, you know? Temptation. Yeah. Like I'm like to different things. And you know, like along the way the journey might have been a bit crazy, but there's always been a creative thread all the way through it, you know, and I've always drawn to other people that are creative and you know they're risk takers, they're up for it. That's quite important to me. I don't want to do I don't want to do things that are really safe, you know. I'm not really, it just doesn't do it for me. I'm not that interested in it.
No,
really.
I hear you.
I want to break new ground or support other people that are breaking new ground, or at least pushing themselves, you know. Like I think it's really important to sort of, you know, push your envelope, you know, that term. But you know, like live life. It's about living life to the full, isn't it? And if you decide that you're creative and you're going to be a creative person, then just like throw everything into it and just go for it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I love people like that, and
it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think apparently people with ADHD brain types are risk takers and really good at problem solving as well, which is, I think that's quite often the case with a lot of producers. I notice that we're good at juggling and, you know, taking those risks. But also it's about curiosity, isn't it? Which is another word that apparently links to that sort of brain type, that we are more curious in nature and will follow the trail of biscuit crumbs or whatever, you know, that's more likely. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Rather than take the safe route, you know.
Yeah.
I've always would consider myself to be a risk taker, but I think that, because you know, what's the worst that can happen? I think it's a bit like what you've said, isn't it? You know, well, I mean, obviously, maybe there are some stories about worse things that can happen,
but it's just not happened yet.
I'm sure there are some, but you know.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, I think ADHD is supposed to be hereditary, isn't it? So I'd say my mum was really ADHD. But she wasn't a risk taker.
Right.
Not okay. You know, like she did take a risk in marrying a really crazy man, and that doesn't work out very well. But you know, I can remember my mum saying to me, well, if I'd had the opportunities that you had, you know, my life might have been different. And I thought, well, I probably did say actually, well, you did have quite a lot of good opportunities, but you didn't take them. My mum got offered to be shot out of the cannon at Chipperfield Circus.
Wow.
But she didn't take it. You know, she chose to get married and have kids and have a safe life. You know, she was attracted to safety, and she wanted some security because maybe she had a bit of a crazy life at her childhood. I don't know.
Okay.
Whereas that's not my, you know, I don't want that. You know, so what the worst thing could have happened to her is that she could have felt insecure.
Yeah.
You know, and like she might lose her house or something. Or she, you know, might not be accepted, but I don't care about being accepted. And if I lose my house, that's fine. I'll buy a caravan, you know, like, or I'm not, you know, that's some people, that level of risk is not acceptable, is it?
No, not at all. So, not at all. Some people
that is the worst that can happen.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, 100%. For me, it's not.
No. Yeah. I mean, I guess, wow. I'm still, my brain is still stuck on somebody being shot out of a cannon, and wow. I was going to come back to you and say about your trapeze career, because I don't think I've ever spoke to you too much about that. But how long? Is that linked with your mum's opportunities to go in a cannon?
No, completely.
So was your mum nothing to do with the circus? She was just given that when she was younger.
She was a housewife and a bookkeeper. And
wow. Okay. And somebody just
really, said, and like gardening, you know.
Okay.
something.
And she just got that opportunity.
She just got the opportunity and walked away from it, and then complained that she didn't have an exciting life.
Oh, yeah, okay.
If you want to play,
it doesn't get much more exciting than that, does it? And much more dangerous, perhaps.
No, I would have been there. Like, I would have been in the cannon, like at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
My trapeze, it's a far too long, convoluted story, but it is a bit literally like somebody comes along and goes, "Oh, did you not mention you wanted to be a trapeze artist?" Oh, somebody I know wants a partner and they're a trapeze artist and they've got like a whole year's worth of gigs, like, why don't, here's their number, why don't you call them and do it? Yeah, and I was
after you just put this thought out in the ether.
I've probably been putting the thought out for about a year.
Okay.
And it was almost like a joke. I went off to Portugal. I left England and went off to Portugal in a truck to do something else, and I set up a business, and anyway it doesn't work because it was very complicated, and there was a little side story that I was going to go to Italy and might look at some circus schools and might explore being a trapeze artist, but it was really a side story, that was sort of half in my head. And then I got somebody got a message to me that somebody back in England was looking for a partner to be a trapeze art, and it was free training and you just had to find a space, and it was in Birmingham, so I got a squat and I found a space. It was in the back of a club on Digbeth. They weren't using it in the day and they had high ceilings. So I persuaded them that it'd be really great. I'd done a free show when I'd learnt it, honest.
Amazing.
Which I did do. I did do. And and then I did this season of touring as a trapeze artist with this amazing guy.
And had you had any experience of it before?
Well,
Sorry.
No, and I was really scared of heights, which I completely forgotten until I got there.
Oh my
you went right up you go, up the rope.
Wow.
Plus, I'm really hypermobile, so I never did any sports at all. Okay. And I'd spent the year before kind of lying on a beach selling vintage clothes and drinking a lot of kind of beer and not really, not being fit, let's say. Not being fit. I wasn't fit. I'd never done any gymnastics or anything. So I had 2 months to learn this ridiculous act, and that nobody does anymore because it's too dangerous. But I didn't know, so I just did it.
Wow.
And it was quite a journey, but I did it, and we went on to, I worked with him for quite a long time.
Oh my gosh. And how was that whole experience of training after it was not having any Wow.
It was absolutely horrendous. I can remember for the first 2 weeks, I couldn't get up the rope. And so he'd like hoisting me up this rope. And then I'd be crying because he'd be telling me I got to stand on this little rectangular metal that was hung up to the ceiling. I don't know how high it was. It seemed insanely high, but it wasn't that high. It was probably about 30 feet or something, 25 feet.
That's high enough.
And he'd make me, and I had this harness on that I'd made. I'd never made a harness. But I didn't have any money for any equipment.
Wow.
So I made this harness, which he just tied a couple of ropes onto, and then he'd make me jump on backwards over and over and over again for 2 weeks until I stopped crying. And then he was like, right, now you can learn some tricks now.
Oh my gosh.
And it was absolutely horrendous.
That sounds horrific.
I would say it's the most terrifying and most painful thing that I've ever done in my life. Right.
Did you hurt yourself at all when you were doing it, having the hypermobility or?
You don't stay you do stay hypermobile, but you get muscles really quickly and it packs all your skeleton, so it's fine.
Right. Okay.
I was really fit, and I did hurt myself a couple of times, but not, nothing major.
Yeah.
So it was fine. And I did the tour with him, and it was the most incredible thing. And we had this big trick that we were supposed to do. It's called the breakaway, which nobody does anymore. I won't explain it to you, but it is really dangerous. Yeah. And I hadn't got it before the gig, and the first gig was in front of 12,000 people in this arena, and I hadn't got the trick. And you can't keep learning it because every time you do it, it's like being hit in the stomach with a metal bar. That's what happens basically.
Right.
And
as the trapeze comes to you?
As you fall towards the trapeze, and you don't hit it at quite the right time, so you kind of like fold double, and it's absolute agony. And then we just ran out of time, so I went to do this gig in my spangly outfit, and I was really nervous, obviously, and but I did it. I did the trick.
Wow.
We both burst into tears. It was really quite an amazing thing. It was just, thank God for that.
Wow.
So it was quite an incredible thing. And then I performed for 5 years professionally. I went to circus school in France. And
I was just going to ask, was it after the tour, were you like, right,
no,
I'm off?
I loved it.
Did you?
I was. I went to London and went to Circus Base. It was called the International School for Circus Arts, and I went to France and got trained by this Russian Olympic gymnast. He was I thought he was teaching me French, but it was actually Russian. He would literally go, that hand, up there, this foot, and all that sort of thing. So that, and you know, toured Europe, and it was amazing. It's the best thing I've ever done in my life.
Sounds amazing.
That 2 months was like the best investment I've ever made.
My gosh. Well, that really, that's going back to the thing of taking risks, isn't it? Massively. Like, that is quite a big, I don't know that I would have the courage to go that far, to be honest, to be like, oh my God, I'm scared of heights. I'm scared of heights as well. Thinking, oh my God, wow, that's so impressive. I'm very impressed. So, I mean, I was going to say, let's talk about your unique and colourful career, but I think you've just summed that up really nicely. But also, on the other side of that, you were the arts officer for Kidderminster for a while, which is like the opposite end of the spectrum altogether, isn't it, really? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Wye Forest.
Wye Forest, sorry, yeah.
No, it's fine. It's Beaulieu, Stourport and Kidderminster. Yeah. It's based in Kidderminster.
So that's how I met you.
It was, but I knew loads of performers, so they'd set up the Arts Festival, which was really embryonic. Yeah. And then I just kind of steamed in and started putting Arts Council bids in, and I brought all the people that I knew from all the touring, the circus performers and everything, and
so it worked really well, didn't it?
Yeah, really well, and I'd done some community development work in London. When I was stopping being a trapeze artist, I started working on films. Yeah, I got a job. I used to do lots of rigging work for like corporate gigs, and then I got offered a job on a film, and they came and asked me to look at some harnesses that they were making to suspend people. They were making of the Nutcracker.
They asked you after your handmade one.
Well, they asked me to look at these harnesses, and they said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think you should get a really big insurance policy." So they said, "Do you want a job?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right then." So then I ended up working for this amazing film company. And I worked on a couple of feature films with them. So I'd done lots of sort of admin and production work on films, and then I got a job as a community development person in Lisson Grove, and so it all kind of joined all up really. They're kind of working in the community and arts. I was like running I did all the consultation for an arts centre in Lisson Grove. Yeah. So it all kind of joined up when I came to Wye Forest, and I'd been in London for 10 years, and I'd been sort of subletting with this slightly dodgy arrangement and this flat, and it was coming to an end. So I was kind of like, I came to a party in Malvern, and I met somebody who was selling a flat. So I bought it with I kind of made an offer with a hangover and didn't really think about what I was doing. Wow. I just thought, I'm okay, I live in the country now. Yeah. And then somebody said there was a job, so I applied for it and I got it. And that was another phase. Yeah. Love it. But it all seemed to work.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like being in tune with what you're supposed to be doing, where you're supposed to be, isn't it? I believe in that. I think, those things that might seem like reckless to some people are pretty much always the right decision, aren't they?
Yeah, mostly. It does. Yeah, it didn't feel reckless at the time. It felt like I was doing something quite sensible. I bought a flat.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
I invested in property. Yeah, it's a bit weird.
But someone else would be like, "What you didn't? It was like that quick." Do you know what I mean? Like,
I make decisions quite quickly. I don't faff around.
But that's what I mean. I think that's really instinctively driven, isn't it? Which is a really good way of doing things, I think.
Yeah, I think I write a pros and cons list in my head in about 30 seconds. And
right, you just process that super fast.
The pros work out slightly more than the cons, and I just go, all right, then let's do it.
Yeah. You don't need to think about them; they're just all there.
No, I don't. I'm a great believer in kind of fate and destiny. For some reason, I think somehow, the universe knows what you need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, suddenly my brain is going to one of our conversations recently was with a great guy called Donston, who we talked about quantum physics and the brain, and it was fascinating. And I think that James and I were both quite. I know there were times through the interview where my jaw was probably like this, because I was trying to, absorb what we were hearing. It was fascinating. But he was talking about how our brain can go, certainly, and neurodivergent brains who maybe work in different ways can go through that thing of almost like a fast computer, just working out the sort of, this was the thing about problem solving, that you can work out things really fast, work out all of the variables and then come up with a solution really quickly, which I find really fascinating. And not all brain types might do that, for instance. They might need longer or, That's quite an interesting thing.
It's and it's that extrovert and introvert thing, isn't it? It's like I feel like I always do a risk assessment of things, and sometimes I decide it's quite dangerous, but sod it, like but look, what's to lose, like let's just do it. What's the worst that can happen? I might have to change direction slightly or adjust, or it might take longer, and that's fine. So it's just about doing a quick risk assessment, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. That's almost like second nature then, isn't it? Always. How many is it?
There's that Myers and Briggs test that people do, isn't it, about extroverts and introverts? And I did that, and I was quite in the middle of it all. So I do need downtime to kind of process stuff. But I'm not consciously processing. I don't really process stuff by sitting still. I've got to move and I do most of my processing while I'm actually making things. And I make quite often. My approach to making is quite organic. I build on stuff. I don't sit and do technical drawings and plan things out for hours and hours and hours. I make it, and if it doesn't work, then that's fine. That's and then that's like a prototype, and then I'll make another version of it, and it will get better until it's done. Or I realise it's a really bad idea. Okay. So that's how I process information, and that's my downtime. I find that relaxing. Really.
Okay.
So I'm not pretty much always moving about. Really.
Always on the go.
I think. Well, it's called action thinking, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, so you're thinking while you're doing, rather than sitting and processing information. Yeah. And that's more of an extrovert way of operating. But I'm introvert as well. So
I just need some rest time to sort of support it.
I need to be making quietly on my own rather than making in a big team of people.
Okay.
And I love working with big teams of people too, so that's fine. I just can't do it 24
hours. Those two sides, isn't it? Absolutely.
Getting that balance.
And tell us about your making. What sort of things are you making at the moment?
At the moment, I'm making things for the theatre mainly.
For here? Yeah. Okay.
So I've got, I just made those curtains, and I did all the painting inside here, and I made the signs for the door, and I'm making the costumes for the ushers. I'm putting my toe back into performance again.
Are you?
So so I'm developing a show with a friend, Lindy Garnett, who's in a band called the Flanners, and she's kind of a performative singer. So we're looking at doing a project for Feast Festival that will be a kind of immersive sensory experience that's led by us. You won't be able to see us or hear us. It'll be silent mostly.
Okay.
So that
sounds interesting.
I'm developing that. So I've not done any performance for years and years and years. So that's nice. I've not been making any sort of 3D stuff for quite a while, but I've got back into textiles, which I started off doing fashion, and then I went into theatre because people in fashion courses were going, that's not very commercial, So I did theatre.
I did textiles, so I've got a little slight link in there as well. But I that's where the costume stuff comes from for you then.
So I kind of come full circle, so that's really nice. But now I want to go back into the performance thing because I loved it.
Do you think that's been inspired by, it must be by being here and having the theatre and doing stuff with the theatre, completely?
The space really inspires me. It's a really, it lends itself to immersive performance. I really like things that are psychological, that push people's boundaries, and I really like sensory stuff. I really like to switch people's senses on. I think our world is about switching people's senses off on the whole, which I don't think is good for us.
We definitely need to be going the other way, don't we? That's our job. 100%.
I think that's the magic of it all, isn't it? So I want to do stuff that when people come in, they enter a different kind of realm, and their senses are heightened, and you can get full blackout in here.
Okay.
So there's a lot you can do in a tiny space. You just got to use your imagination.
100%. I mean, it's so fabulous, and I loved what you were telling me. I know we won't be able to see this with the cameras, but I loved what you were telling me about the ceiling as well, which above us, it's this beautiful blue, and it's a star, a map of Orion, the constellation Orion, isn't it? You were telling me a lovely story earlier about that, which
that's a strange twist of fate as well. The theatre had really incredible murals on it that were painted by Gabriel Neal, who's Dennis's son.
Okay.
And it was they were all completely damaged, and I really wanted them to put something in it. We want to make it a visual art space as well. We just got lighting put in. I'm just waiting to get it wired up.
Okay.
So I didn't really know what to do, and I didn't want to get another artist because I wanted to keep all the people that are originally involved in creating the theatre, involved in it, and he was not up for it. And I spent a whole year badgering the poor guy, and then I went off to Greece, and I went into the little chapels, and they've got this beautiful blue in the little chapels with these gold stars. on them, and I thought, oh, maybe I could do that, because I had this like little thought in my head that we could put weddings in here, and it is kind of like a chapel.
I
thought, oh, I could do that, and that'll be simple, and it won't cost us anything, and blah blah blah. And then Gabriel was like, eventually he said, yeah, I'll come for a meeting with you. He came in and he said, well, I've got an idea, you probably won't like it, and I'm not doing it, but I think you should paint it blue and put a constellation on the roof. It was really weird. I was kind of like,
well, he said that.
He said that.
Oh my gosh.
And then he said, "Oh, I'll work it all out on a computer for you."
Wow.
I've got up some. I've been looking up star constellations. I've been looking at original kind of star maps from the time that we think the winter was made, and so this is Orion, roughly when we think it was made.
That's
and
just so
it's got
fabulous.
Betelgeuse in the constellation, which is dedicated for Dennis.
Lovely.
And everybody sponsored a star. You know, lots of people. There's still a few left to go.
Is there?
Yeah,
not
many, not
okay.
many.
I mean, that's just fabulous. And how amazing that he said that idea to you, and you've been looking at that stuff. That's meant to be,
Yeah,
100%.
so I spent weeks painting this constellation, and I've never done anything like that before in my life. And it was absolutely, oh God, it was a real challenge, because I borrowed this scaffold tower that wasn't quite the right height.
Oh no.
So I had to go and have
how do you even get a scaffold tower in here?
Well, it was a little mini one, but I had to go and have a bit of go to a sports massage afterwards to get my neck.
Oh no.
But it was worth it. I think it's really worked really well.
It just looks brilliant. It really does. And you know, everywhere you look, there's something interesting. It's like curios and, you know, interesting little quirky details, isn't it, which is just so gorgeous. But I think that's quite something I think about you and your work is I think like the weird and wonderful really shines through in everything that you do. You know, would you say that is something that you're naturally drawn to?
That's funny,
like curios,
I don't
or
think
like
it's weird.
Well, no, I don't. And I use the word weird and wonderful, you know, lightly, but it's almost like that curio Victoriana kind of thing, isn't it? Or like puppetry, or like I don't know.
I definitely like things that are old, that have got history attached to them. My mum used to drag me around lots of stately homes and things and museums when I was a kid, and I think I'm really into the kind of sentimentality of objects and the kind of story. There's a word for it, isn't there? I can't remember it now, but it's kind of like material. It's like about material memory or something like that. So I really feel like the objects, they sort of somehow retain memory or sentiment or feeling,
like an old handrail that you know has been touched 1,000 times in an old house or
and
something.
I think we warm to that, and I think it makes us feel comfortable. It does me anyway, so I definitely gravitate towards things. I don't like new shiny things that much. I do, but I'm not drawn to them. And in terms of a space that you want to inhabit and feel happy and comfortable in, I don't think that's it necessarily.
No,
it might be exciting for a bit, but you know, I don't think it feeds our soul.
100%. Yeah, it's great when there's sort of 1,000 stories attached to something, isn't it?
So all my work's got that thread through.
Yeah,
I think. All my jewellery and everything that I make has got, you know, bits of old dolls and things in it, and it's all about stories and sentiment and
I remember when you were talking years ago about your taxidermy and saying about all the stories that were attached, because they were roadkill, weren't they, or different animals that were found, and they each one had a story attached to them about their lives, and I think it made me cry when you told me that. I remember you telling me, and I just thought it was so beautiful, and it really changed my thoughts on taxidermy as well. You know, and like how you made it into something really beautiful was really amazing.
All the things I researched, every kind of animal and its habits, and you know, and they were all stories and folklore, and which is such a magical world in itself, isn't it? Oh my gosh, pretty rich.
Very much so. I was thinking about when you said about weddings as well in here, and like what a perfect little setting it is. And you've had a few, two have you? And when you said it's like a chapel, it so is, isn't it? It'd be interesting to see if that becomes more. I'm sure it will, right? You say you're getting a lot more interest now from people all over the country to want to come and do things here, aren't you?
Yeah, it's got a real cult following, hasn't it?
So I mean, I'm rightly so.
We've done interviews for Japanese magazines and French. We've been on a French little documentary. I think as the word spreads, I don't think people have really got it in their psyche yet that it's open again. We want to do weddings because obviously, you know, putting shows on with 12 seats is not a money spinner.
No, you've got to keep it going, haven't you?
Even though the overheads are really low. Because we don't have water or anything, you know, it was just basically electricity and insurance and stuff like that. We do want to make money so that because we'd like to do, I'd like to program stuff outside the theatre as well. So I think, you know, the theatre's got a reputation doing quirky stuff, and that once that reputation's solid, then we can stop programming outside the theatre, and people will know what to expect. So we want to generate some income, and weddings are a great way to do that, and we want someone to do affordable stuff, and for creative people who don't want to go into a registry office
and how different, I mean, it's just fabulous, isn't it? What a great place to come and do that. Well, it's been really, really interesting to listen to your career and how you the journey with this place, really. Have you got like any we always tend to sort of do a bit of philosophical stuff in the middle, and then we tend to like try and round up a bit with any like support or strategies for other creatives. And I know, again, this is something that's very important to you, to help nurturing other people to be their best selves. You've always been that person, I think. And I just wondered if you've got any insights for other creatives who have like really super busy brains. Or any tips, isn't it? Any tips or any things you've stumbled upon that might have helped you even,
I just think if you want to be happy, then you've got to go with it, but you have to accept that it's going to be a really difficult road and probably not the most comfortable one, because it's, unless you're incredibly lucky, you're not going to make loads of money.
No.
And for people like us, being business minded is a tricky thing, isn't it?
Yeah, very.
But I just don't think
happiness over that. Though, isn't it?
Yeah, for me, that's not the rewards that I'm particularly looking for. As long as you can pay your rent and you can eat, I don't think you
maybe have a little.
You just
go out for dinner now and again, or maybe do a little bit of a trip somewhere.
I think you just got to be realistic about it. But if it's a lifestyle choice, isn't it?
Yeah,
like being a farmer or something. Like
it's true. I hadn't thought about it like that.
You've always got to be there, haven't you? Yeah. But if you try and do something else, it's like putting a square peg in a round hole, isn't it? You're probably never going to be that happy. It's not going to be a fulfilled life. So
no.
You've got to make a choice, haven't you?
Really? Yeah. And that's a bit like just generally, when you're younger, for me, certainly trying to just fit in life generally, always feeling like I'm that square peg in a round hole, and then the more you start to follow those instinctive choices or those creative pathways, the more it becomes your life, doesn't it? And it becomes, you get that happiness, I think, and that fulfillment more, perhaps.
I think so. I don't think you should be apologetic about who you are and what you want to do.
But you're made to feel a bit like that in life sometimes, aren't you?
Really are.
I definitely felt that when I was younger.
You really are. And, that's part of the reason why I went back and did a master's, because I think, academia, the first time around, I probably wasn't quite in the right frame of mind for it anyway. But, I'd had a bit of a rough time through school, and I did really feel like a misfit. And I don't feel like I got out of my degree what I should have done, because I was trying to conform to something, and I don't think that's what creativity is about, like I said earlier.
No, absolutely.
So I went and had another stab at it. So I don't think, I think trying to make yourself fit into other people's expectations is definitely the wrong path if you're neurodiverse. I think you should just fully embrace it and be who you are.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of trying to be somebody else? Because like, who are you going to be?
No. Well, exactly. So. Sometimes it's hard enough just working out who you are, isn't it? Just within yourself, let alone when you've got extra forces outside trying to say that you shouldn't be like a certain way or do a certain thing,
Yeah, don't apologise for who you are.
Really good advice, I think. But sometimes that takes a bit of courage as well, doesn't it? I think it's changing, and people are more confident now to be themselves.
I think so, and I think there's more knowledge, and people are more accepting of it. Yeah. And I think it gets much easier as you get older.
Yeah.
But then it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? When you get older, I think. Like I feel like quite sort of liberated to be myself now, much more than I ever was, even though probably most people have said, well, you've never really compromised much. But, I feel like I always kind of was trying to mask things and all the time, maybe in quite wacky ways, but nonetheless it was always there was a mask there. But then you go through sort of menopause, don't you, and the masking I just can't be bothered anymore. It's like,
that's how I feel.
I can't do it, it's too much effort.
It's way too much effort.
If you don't like it, there's the door, do you know what I mean? Just go away.
That is the real plus point of menopause, in my opinion. Like, just actually that whole thing just drops away, doesn't it?
So that's good. So if you're young, you're really trying to you're avoiding the inevitable, aren't you? You're just wasting time.
Yeah, it's
avoiding
true.
the inevitable. Just like embrace it, because one day soon it's going to come anyway, where you just go, do you know what, this is me. If you don't like it, just go.
It's true.
Just get on with it.
But I mean, I think luckily we are, although the world is, in disarray, we are also in a place where, there's a lot more acceptance, there's a lot more understanding. People are able to be themselves way more, especially in creative communities, because it's more open and more accepting.
And people can articulate it it better, can't they? Which really helps other people understand
Definitely. And whether that's around just, different ways of thinking, different brain types, neurodiversity, sexuality, whatever it is, really, we are more open, thank goodness.
And I think
we've got to fight for that.
We're going through a period of change, aren't we, where lots of people don't like it, they find it intimidating, and they kick against it. Yeah, they are. But that's just that's a phase. It will go, and the acceptance can only grow.
Definitely. Definitely, because it's a positive thing, hugely positive thing, Oh, it's really nice to talk to you, Loz. Thank you so much for taking the time. I wonder, I know we've got a couple of links. We always put a few links anyway up online, but we've got a few links to your work. And you mentioned you've got some work. I'm just going to touch on this in Cantlow's, which is an independent vintage shop in Leominster. What work have you got in there?
I've got jewellery in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's like sort of my last collection that I did.
Oh, nice.
It's a really lovely shop, actually.
Yeah, I looked at it online. It looked gorgeous.
Debbie runs it, is an amazing jeweller. So it's definitely worth checking out.
Oh, yeah. I will definitely go and have a look for sure. And if people wanted to find out about the Theatre of Small Convenience, we've got the links. We'll put them up. But also, I know you've got shows coming up in July. Yeah. And good luck for anyone trying to get a ticket. I'm only joking. That you've got to get on it, haven't you? But you can get tickets. And then have you got shows coming up further? How regular are the shows?
Well, we're sort of gaining momentum now. We're getting into the groove of it. But from August onwards, we'll be part of the Worcestershire Open Studios thing. Oh, okay. And we'll hope to do a grotto again. We'll probably be part of Feast. So pretty much.
Feast is a local theatre festival here in Malvern, isn't it? At Malvern Cube.
Yeah, really interesting contemporary theatre. They're doing stuff at the Big Theatre as well now, and we'll be part of the Children's Storytelling Festival. So from August, they'll be pretty much going to be constant.
So really involved in the active festivals in the town, as well as programming other work that's going to come in.
And we'll be doing the quirky stuff. It's a bit different.
Yeah, amazing.
And we'll also be putting visual art stuff up, because we get we've got these amazing lights that have been sponsored by this Dutch company, so will be definitely a bit more of a varied programme coming.
Great. So really it's a case of watch this space, follow online, come to a show, look out for things that are going on here, and just really come and support this magical place that is like nowhere else on earth.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the smallest theatre in the entire world, which is super exciting. Oh, well, thanks, Loz. And we'll put the links online. And thanks ever so much for taking the time to have us in here today as well on this heat wave day. I know, it's like 36 degrees outside. We were sweating earlier, but actually it's pretty cool in here, isn't it?
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a good time to come and see a show.
Yeah, absolutely. Amazing. Well, thanks ever so much. Pleasure. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks so much for taking the time to listen to this today. If you feel you're a bold thinker, have unique stories or helpful tips and strategies to help others, please get in touch with the Creative Minds Unpacked team. We would love to hear from you.